Hello friends, and possibly some ex-friends by the time I'm done with this video. I wanted to give you my 2 cents worth on the Mitch McConnell response to Tucker Carlson's response to the January 6th, whatever we want to call it, picnic, incursion, whatever, however you want to describe it. So I wanted to give my response to his response. So one thing I've always said is that we do not live in a country with a two-party system. We have one party with two lying faces. It's what I call pendulum politics, that just basically the tide swings from left to right over the years. And it's basically a lot of role playing. There are a lot of bad people on both sides. Those who are Republicans behaving as Democrats we generally refer to as rhinos, Republicans in name only. And the greatest among them by far being Mitch McConnell at the very top, and I would even argue the Ohio governor Mike DeWine is right up there with him. So back, if we take a step back to the days of the beginning of the COVID pandemic shutdown, we had already experienced times when there were police officers who would cover their tracks because they had done something wrong. You know, a guy pulls out his cell phone and a cop is in a panic and thinks it's a gun and he shoots the person, and other police officers on the scene cover for him. Excuse me a second. So it's not like they set out and intended to do that. Hey, let's go murder this person and then we'll just cover up for it. No, it's something they found themselves in the heat of the moment. They were panicked about what to do. There was even one in Cincinnati many years back where they said that the police officer was in the right and another man driving a pickup truck was in the wrong, and the man's passenger died, and they were charging the man with vehicular homicide or involuntary homicide, or manslaughter, whatever the charge was. And come to find out months later, there was a loophole that allowed someone to release some information, and it turned out that the police officer was intoxicated, and that's what caused the whole accident. These things happen. And so what did they do? So they said, well, we need a way of proving this stuff. And so they started requiring the wearing of body cams, so that, and also dash cams in police officers' cars, to ensure that you've got something that is documentable. It will, will cover for the potential that they are lying about what actually happened. And of course, this intensified during the pandemic lockdowns. So we have all these people out rioting in the streets, and of course COVID didn't affect them. It only affected those who were locked down, and if they so much as snuck out to smoke a cigarette on their front porch, they might get COVID and die. You know, it's the most ludicrous thing I've ever seen. So the reason it intensified at that point in time, the reason that COVID wasn't killing these people rioting in the streets wasn't because of COVID. It was because of Democratic Party control. They had recently taken control of the White House, and that's really what fueled the whole thing. And again, I'm not taking sides here. This isn't a matter of Democrat versus Republican. I'm just pointing out that that's what led to the rioters being able to riot and not have to worry about COVID. And so during that time period, because there was so much violence, even though they say, oh no, it was peaceful protest, let's face it, it was violence. And the reason that there was such an influx all of a sudden of body cam footage being released is because there was a lot more violence in the streets. And so the mainstream media, of course, was focusing more and more on that and really demanding body cam footage so that no one could lie about what actually happened. So let's fast forward then to the January 6th event. I know people who are there personally. Some of them actually broadcast live on Facebook, and what I saw was exactly what Tucker Carlson released. There was no riot or anything else. They were invited into the Capitol building by the Capitol Police. So now we have Mitch McConnell, who comes out and he's saying, okay, pay no attention to that video footage. And he holds up this thick police report and said, this is the Capitol Police report. I put much more confidence in this document than what you're seeing in that footage. This is the truth. This is what really happened in this police report. So we are seeing an exact reversal of the whole point of body cam footage. If we're going to allow Mitch McConnell to sit up there and just pass this whole thing off as fraud, then we should stop having body cam footage. And then I'm sure the radical left would never go along with that, right? So let's not have this double standard continue on anymore. The bottom line is we now see the footage, and it is the truth, and that police report is fraudulent. Sorry. And we know that some of that happened even on the little tidbits that they did release days after the January 6th event. With all the yelling and screaming in the background, it sounded like there was all kinds of horrible things going on, and come to find out that it was an audio track that they overlaid on that video that never really happened. If you watch the version that Tucker Carlson released, that sound is not there. It was an audio track. So you've got Dominion, the voting machine people, saying that Tucker Carlson and Fox News need to be sued because during election time they came out and stated, not even just opinionated, they stated the elections were fraudulent. And then I still see Tucker Carlson say that to this day, that it was a fraudulent election. And they're saying that, well, they can't prove it, therefore it was a legitimate election, and so they're subject to be sued. All right, so let's apply this then to January 6th. We are now seeing the footage that shows what really happened on January 6th. So let's apply that same logic there. If the mainstream media from the other networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, the Washington Post, the New York Times, whoever it happens to be, if they are reporting this as, yes, there was an insurrection on January 6th, and it proves to not be the case, all of those networks should be allowed to be sued. And I'll take that even a step farther. Not only should they be allowed to be sued, but also if you look at the result of the Tucker Carlson comments concerning the election fraud, in the end, their candidate still got in, although fraudulently. He was installed like a plumber installs a toilet. We all know that. So he still got in. So there was no harm done. It really didn't change anything. However, with this January 6th riot claim, they actually arrested people. And those people many of them are still in prison to this very day, based on a fraud, and this is a fraud that has been perpetuated by the mainstream media. So these people not only should be able to be sued in a civil court, they need to be put in prison because they are accomplices to a felony. They lied and they put people in prison unjustifiably. They themselves need to be pulled off the air and they need to be put in prison. Think that one over. Thanks for watching.